Tuam is one of the most ancient capitals of Ireland. Tuam was its original name, so its history goes way, 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 way back. This, as we know, is the Little Mill. Originally, the Corcorans, my family, came here in 1710 and built this mill. It was rebuilt by the Farrells in 1910. Previous to that, it may have only been 1 or 2 stories. So the Farrells came along and redeveloped it. So basically the farmers would come, they'd bring their oats or whatever, and then on the second floor they would have milled them, and flour production went into place after that. Well, having a mill in the centre of town was good for the town. It brought business into the town, but also it just provided a working mechanism in the town. I think that in itself is significant, you know, that you have something being produced from your town, flour coming out of the town.
Standing here in Tuam's Little Mill, you can almost hear the turning wheel of Ireland's agricultural heritage coming to life.
Decades ago, a civic-minded teacher and his 7 student crusaders saved this space from becoming a car park.
My name is Liam Kelly. I am from Bishop Street, Tuam, a member of an old Tuam family. And in 1970, under the guidance of our civics teacher, Dr. Tony Claffey, myself and 6 other boys were involved in the project which saved this mill and the riverbank from destruction. 1971. Well, it was very run down. Then there was a proposal by the local council. They decided to make a car park, knock everything, covering, build a car park over the river. And of course our teacher, he was horrified at the idea. So he gathered 7 of us, and the project was to try and save the mill, to do something with the riverbank and to try and change public opinion. So as it happened at the time, the Department of Environment, in conjunction with Shell and BP, the oil company, decided to run a competition for a conservation project, and we won the first prize in the competition. And they said at the time why we won it was we changed public opinion and we changed the local planners. We got them to change their mind. They saw valid in our project and they actually came behind us, and then funding was set up. There was one area the County Council came on board and they cleared up the site, and the Miller's House has been done up lately, and it's fantastic, and hopefully the mill here can be restored as well. So it's a great asset to the town.
In 2005, the mill had become dilapidated again, so a new committee was formed, and our objective was to restore this entire area.
Phase 1 allowed us to open the Miller's House for community use. Phase 2 restored the mill wheel from decay to its original glory.
That work has resulted in the wheel being restored to the extent that it can now move when the water level is high enough. So that has been very, very gratifying, how wonderful that is. Now it's time for phase 3, which is the restoration of this mill building so that once more it can be opened to the general public to show what the interaction between the agricultural and the industrial in Ireland of the past. The problems that we are facing are, first of all, the most important is the roof, which is an asbestos roof which needs to be removed and entirely replaced. Because of the bad roof and the leaking, there has been damage to the floor and the stairway of the mill. So the second task to be completed is the repair and renovation of the flooring and the stairway. And following that, in order to open it to the public, we need to do a risk assessment. And following on from that, we have to do the works that are recommended so that once more the general public can come into this building, which is all its machinery intact from the days of milling, and we need to make it available to the public once more.
The Little Mill is an icon of industrial archaeology, standing tall in Tuam, Ireland's cathedral city in County Galway.
And the cultural significance of Tuam being an ecclesiastical capital and having boundary walls, ancient civilizations lived in Tuam. So to tie in our own, my children's generation with something that's more ancient and an understanding of their culture and where they came from is very important, I think, you know.
It is going to be the most wonderful tribute to our past, to the past of the town. And here in this mill is a celebration of those rural Irish lives, and that celebrates the interaction between the countryside from so many Irish people, for example, who went abroad, came from farms, and big and small, and left the land of Ireland behind to visit, to go away and earn their livings in the countries such as the United States or Canada or Australia. And they always remembered where they came from.
That tradition of those small mills running is very significant, you know, and if we lose sight of that, we lose sight of everything, I think, you know. It's in our very recent history, in our recent past, within a generation. So to preserve it and to maintain the stories that surround it, I think, is essential. You know, you only have to look around and look at the old bridge here and see the cultural significance of that and the stories associated with it. And we are a country of stories, we're a country of legends, we're a country that has preserved our culture through an oral narrative. And with the advent of social media and the internet, there's a fear that we're losing all that. So we are losing a lot of our culture just through the advancement of technology. So to have something like this where we could sit around and tell stories about the past, preserve some stories that we have and retell them, you know, have storytelling nights or whatever it may be, would be something that would be, I think, of great interest to our children or children's children, because otherwise it's going to be lost.
People probably just pass up and down every day, don't realise it, or don't even, you know, it's like anything, you just take these things for granted. It's only when they're gone that you miss it. And I think it's wonderful to preserve this, you know, it's for future generations.
Your contributions, large or small, are needed. Help preserve a piece of Irish history for future generations. The Little Mill of Tuam.